Hi guys. We are looking right now at your lesson for page 3 of ratios and rates. And this lesson is specifically on rates and unit rates. And so they're related to ratios in that there's like division involved, kind of like a fraction involved, and you're comparing two quantities. Except in a rate, your units aren't the same. So when we compared like when we were comparing here, 14 footballs to 35 footballs, those were both footballs. Or 14 dimes to 20 coins, those were both types of coins. Here, 10 beetles out of 20 insects. Those are both, the beetles and the insects are both related. They're both the same kind of thing. They're both insects. So, or related. They're related in that way. Sometimes they're exactly the same, miles to miles, inches to inches. But the idea is that with a ratio, we're talking about the same thing and comparing those same things. So it's like apples to apples, as somebody might say, comparing apples to apples. Ratios are like comparing apples to oranges. They're two numbers that are related, even though they're two things that don't really have anything to do with each other otherwise. They're not the same type of thing. So we have many different types of rates. Costs are a type of rate. Speeds are a type of rate. And pay is a type of rate. So these are some of the most common kinds of rates. And there's different units for them depending on what it is that you're talking about. So costs for things, something, might cost, like $2.50 per item. So like $2.50 each. Or you might pay $1.50 per pound. And we put this little division line, kind of. It's just like a fraction line or a division line. And we can say per pound. And our dollar sign goes in front. Otherwise, we don't typically see the unit out in front, but dollar signs are written out in front. Somebody might pay per foot for something, like if they're buying trim for, putting around a window or around your house, or if you're buying string or ribbon. Sometimes ribbon you can pay for like by the foot or by the yard. So something might cost, $1.10 per yard. And that would be the cost per yard of that item. So a lot of times when we buy things, we're not buying them, they're not marked in this way always. Some things are, like apples sit out, on a shelf and they're advertised per pound. So you put how many you want in a bag and you weigh it and they figure out how much you pay based on the unit rate. This is called a unit rate when you're talking about the cost per one of the other thing. So your top unit, like dollars, you get a number for, but then the thing that is you're dividing by, that other unit, there's only one of them. So that's why they call it a unit rate. So these are types of rates, but they are also specifically unit rates. So speeds, how fast a runner goes, or something. So maybe you do 7.5. Let's not do that. Let's say you do 2.5 meters per second. Let's say that that's measuring something like in science. You're measuring something and doing a lab and you have 2.5 meters per second. Or if you are driving and you are going 55 miles per hour, that's a unit rate. So it's saying for every 1 hour, per 1 hour you're going 55 miles. So you drive an hour, you've gone 55 miles. You drive another hour, you've gone another 55 miles. Like that. Maybe in when you're running, you're doing like miles in an hour or miles in a minute. So if you do, let's say, it's hard to do the running one and have it work very well because a lot of times we talk about how fast we run a mile. So that's a different kind of a rate. It's kind of backwards. Like we say we do, if I do an 8-minute mile, that means I'm going 8 minutes per 1 mile, which is kind of a backwards way to look at speed, but that's the way that runners give their rate when they're talking about their rate for speeding, is I do an 8-minute mile. So pay is another type of common rate. We might get paid, maybe you get paid, $400 per week. And that's how much money you make in 1 week. So 1 week is the unit, the single unit. And the $400 is how much you're getting. Or maybe, you're babysitting and you're getting paid $3 per hour per kid. It's kind of like a double unit rate. I don't know what name that has, but it's $3 per hour per kid. So you're looking at different things there. So if you have more kids, you're going to get paid more per hour. So your unit rate will increase for your pay. Typically that, like on a pay stub, when you get a real paycheck someday, it'll have on there what your unit pay is, how much money you make like an hour. And even if you make a salary, it will still usually be on there because they'll figure out if you work 40 hours a week for a year, how many hours that is, and they'll break your time down so that they can use it. So sometimes you'll see that on your pay, even if you're paid a salary. So remember, a salary is like a flat amount that you get paid for the year, and they divide it up for the year. And you get paid the same amount of your paycheck, no matter if you work more hours than you're supposed to or less hours, just depending on what's going on. So, so those are all common types of rates that we see. Another rate that's common is having to do with your car. So we have costs like dollars per gallon for gas, and we have speed, miles per hour. But we also have for gas, for your car, we have miles per gallon. And so when somebody's talking about their mileage, like what kind of mileage do you get? What's that like in your car? And people are complaining about that. It's how many miles they can get on 1 gallon of gas. And so if you have like a big truck that has a lot of power and makes a lot of noise when you start it up, those kinds of vehicles will typically take more gas to go a greater distance. So we might get something like 15 or 16 miles per gallon. But if you have like a little car, especially if it's like a 5-speed and it has a stick shift, hopefully you know what that is. If you don't, talk to your parents. But that might get 40 miles to the gallon. And so that is something that you look at when you're going to go buy a car, and when you're looking at what's important to you. And if you want to be, if you're going to be driving long distances and you want to get good gas mileage, that's what they're talking about, is that you are, when you pay for your gas, that you're getting the most out of it, depending on what your needs are. So like my vehicle doesn't get good gas mileage, but it has 4-wheel drive and it can hold all of my family, and it has good power because like I live out in the country and sometimes the weather isn't great, and it gives me some safety for some of those long drives. So those are different things that you consider with rates. So rates are something that's really important that people use all the time. So in that, like, how am I going to use this when I grow up? Rates are used all the time. Rates are important. Okay, so on your assignment, you will be given little phrases that talk about your two different quantities and what their units are. And then you need to figure out the rate. And that part's easy in that you don't have to do any math. You're just writing the stuff down. So you're just understanding the concept. So the confusing thing is that some of them, they have them written backwards. So like here, I have 3 t-shirts, cost $38.25. Well, I don't go to the store and think, how many t-shirts do I get per dollar? Because per dollar, I'm only going to get like maybe part of a shirt, maybe the hem of the shirt, or the string on the shirt. I'm not going to get very much of the shirt for $1. And so we typically do dollars per. So dollars tend to be on top, always. Those units, the money units tend to be on top. And often then if we're looking at like speeds, notice with speeds you have your distances on top. And with pay you have your money on top and your time on the bottom. And in miles per gallon we have our distance on top and our number of gallons on the bottom. So you want to think about the situation a little bit before you just start writing your numbers down. And you can get help from this from somebody. Your parents would be able to figure this out, how we typically look at rates. So if I'm looking at shirts, I usually think of what does it cost per shirt. And so I'm going to write my 38.25 on top and my 3 on the bottom. And I'm going to write 3 shirts. So I want my units there. That's important. So then my unit rate, all you do to find your unit rate is divide your rate. Remember that a fraction is just a division problem. That's all a fraction is a division problem. So you go 38.25 divided by 3. Okay, and again, your calculators are welcome. So I have 38.25 divided by 3 equals 12.75. Now remember that's dollars, and that's per shirt. So for one shirt, I'm going to pay $12.75. And that makes sense, because 3 of them is going to cost me this much. Okay, if you look at your next one, if I drive 110 miles in 2 hours, so driving, that's miles per hour, so I'm going to write 110 miles over 2 hours, and then I'll divide that. So I'm going to divide 110 divided by 2, which is 55. So my rate is 55. And miles per hour, we often write like this, mph, for miles per hour. But you could also write it miles per hour like that. Okay. If you babysit for 3 hours, for $18.50. So again, it's pay. I want to think of what I'm getting paid per hour. So my pay goes on top, and my 3 hours goes on bottom. And so when I divide that, 18.5 divided by 3. Now, notice I have a repeating decimal. In the instructions on your assignment, the instructions, the things that sometimes we don't look at, it says round your answer to the nearest hundredth. So remember that's 2 decimal places. So especially this one, because it's money, that's what a computer would do. You know, a cash register at a store, it's going to round it. So it's money. I don't pay parts of pennies. So it looks like $6.17 per hour. And that's how you can write that, with the slash mark and then the HR abbreviation. Okay, if I'm going to buy 5 pounds of apples for $6.25, again, I pay per pound. So I don't want to know how many apples I get per dollar, because that's going to be a strange amount. Like, you go to the store, how many apples could I get for $1? And they were like, oh, well, you can get 3/4 of an apple, and they chop it and give it to you. That's weird. So think about that when you're thinking about how to write your rate. I'm going to put my money on top. So 625 divided by 5, 6.25 divided by 5. $1.25 is my, oh, I need to write my pounds here. So it's $1.25 per pound. So for every pound of apples, I pay $1.25. Okay? So that is what you'll be doing on this assignment. Okay? $125 buys you 5 calculators. So you do 125 over 5. And remember your units. Okay? 7 pencils for $16. The dollars go on top. 9 batteries cost $20. The 20 goes on top. Those are probably some pretty fancy batteries. It's a lot of money for a battery. 4 inches of snow in 8 hours. So you would want to do, this one you would do inches per hour. Put your time on the bottom. Okay. Dollars per book, miles per gallon, dollars per chocolate bar, dollars per yard that you mow, dollars per ticket, and then the last one here, dollars per can. Those are, again, expensive cans of tuna. $9 for 2 cans of tuna. Got some inflation happening there. So, I stole these off of the internet. Steal's the wrong word. I use them. I took them from a site that's made for teachers to use. So I thought these were a little bit simpler than using your book for these because your book has so many sections. This makes it a little bit simpler to break it down. So, this is your assignment for page 3 for math, and we just have one more for this week. So, I will see you next time.